Iowa has been a program that I've been frustrated at times with Iowa because it seems like they're very happy to be who they are and they don't necessarily strive for more.
Yeah.
I feel like Wisconsin tried to strive for more with Phil Longo, and that didn't work. And I feel like, well, Nebraska should strive for more. And then Rhule after that game is like, we have to catch them. And it's like Iowa is just puttering along, 8 or 9 wins. And you know what? Sometimes it's like, that's pretty good, man. So I was shocked that Nebraska lost that game, but yeah, bad taste to end the season that way.
Doug, I'm just curious. You know, we talk ad nauseum within the bubble, and you know how that goes about Nebraska. So I'm curious from a larger perspective. What are your thoughts after year 2 of Matt Rhule, Nebraska? Do you see this thing working eventually? What are you guys seeing and talking about when it comes to Nebraska?
Yeah, so we all got caught up in the Matt Rhule year 2 thing, year 2 at Temple, year 2 at Baylor. Here comes a huge leap. Wasn't a huge leap, was a moderate leap, but breaking the bolstering is something. And we were looking at true freshman quarterbacks. I think the research I did, there were 10 true freshman quarterbacks in FBS, all 134 teams who played at least 100 snaps. It was either 100 snaps or 100 passes. It wasn't a ton. And the only 2 guys who were true freshman starting quarterbacks in the 134-team FBS that were planned to be that from the start of the year were Dylan Raiola and Danny O'Neal at San Diego State, who just transferred to Wisconsin. And I think 4 or 5 other guys of those 10 also transferred. Luke Croman-Hoke at Florida State did. And, Isaac Wilson was in the portal for Utah and came back. But anyway, my point was, man, I sometimes understand teams playing young quarterbacks, taking some lumps in pursuit of something, but how rough is it to take lumps and then the guy taking the lumps is like, I'm sick of lumps. I'm out of here. And it's like, why did we play you? What are we doing? So the point is nobody else, and I really differentiate between true freshmen and redshirt freshmen because I said when you're a true freshman, you're trying to figure out where the bathrooms are. You don't know anything. If you're a redshirt freshman, it's like you had a whole year to learn and get in the weight room and hit the training table. In the Power 4, nobody else did what Nebraska did. Nobody played a true freshman at quarterback. And so we're having conversations now about Juju Lewis at Colorado. Do they need a bridge quarterback? They just got Caden Salter. I don't think Colorado's going to play Juju Lewis next year. Bryce Underwood at Michigan. He's the #1 recruit in the country. It feels like Michigan's searching for a bridge quarterback. You thought it was going to be Billy Edwards from Maryland. It's not him. They're looking at other guys. Nobody does this, but I think it was the right thing for Nebraska to do. But I think in any analysis, you have to understand this was so rare. There was some risk involved. You guys would know more than me. It felt maybe like Dylan hit a little bit of a wall at some point during the season, but there is a payoff. I believe there is a payoff coming. But for Nebraska fans, if you're frustrated that the leap wasn't as big, that program took a necessary risk with a young guy that literally nobody else in the country did. And you hope when I'm back on this show with you guys in 2026, we're talking about Nebraska getting ready to host a playoff game in year 3 with Dylan Raiola as the starter. So I think you have to keep that in mind.
Doug, obviously, firing an OC in season, I mean, it happens. So it's not a total rarity, right? Bringing in somebody from outside who runs a completely different offense, though, on all of our day jobs, we were like, has this ever happened before? I still have not seen any evidence of this ever happening before. As now we get about a month and a half removed from that, there were ups and downs. You mentioned the Iowa game, not very good. The Wisconsin returns were great, though. They end up going to a bowl game. Sure. What do you make of the Dana Holgorsen of it all now as we get a little bit removed from it?
Right, it's the trend, right? So the Dana didn't come right from being a head coach, but he had that little couple months in between. But with what Chip Kelly did, leaving UCLA as a head coach to come to Ohio State and be the OC, Gus Malzahn leaving Central Florida to go be the OC at Florida State. There are guys who I just think are better suited for that. So I think for Matt Rhule to get somebody who he trusts, to get somebody who's been in that seat before, to get somebody who I think probably is tired of all that other stuff and just wants to scheme it up, I think it was the right move. And you guys know this. I mean, everybody saw it. As soon as Marcus Satterfield had that news conference, it's like, okay, this is not going to be it. And then if it's not going to be it, why wait? Why wait? Now, bumps in the middle, but why wait? So I actually like the decisiveness, but it is hard to be caught in between of, Our OC was so much the wrong guy, we had to get rid of him. And then our DC did such a good job that Florida State stole him. So like that is a tough reality to be in between. But, Nebraska had a top 20 defense this year, and I think they can still establish that identity. But obviously the Holgorsen thing had to be done. And once it has to be done and you're getting rid of Marcus Satterfield, like, go be bold. Don't wait. Don't lose out on a guy. And I think Dana Holgorsen is a guy who can probably scheme it up in a way that makes Nebraska substantially better offensively next year.